Ladies and gentlemen, you know what's crazy? We spend years collecting stuff, things we once thought we needed, only to realize they're quietly draining our space, our time, and our energy. One day, I looked around and thought, I'm not living in a home, I'm living in a storage unit. That was the moment I decided to change. And what happened next? My life felt lighter. Physically, mentally, emotionally. So today, I want to share 7 decluttering habits that didn't just clear my home, they cleared my mind, boosted my confidence, and made me love my life again. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification so you never miss any video. Habit number 1, I start small, but I start now. You know that feeling when you look at a messy room, an overflowing closet, or a long to-do list, and you think, where do I even start? That was me for years, always overwhelmed by the size of the task, so I'd put it off until later. But here's what I learned. Later is a trap. Waiting for the perfect time is how clutter, both in our homes and in our lives, grows roots. The breakthrough came when I realized I didn't need to do it all at once. I just needed to start small, but start now. I remember one Saturday morning staring at my kitchen counter piled high with unopened mail, grocery receipts, and random pens. Normally, I'd sigh and walk away, telling myself I'd tackle it when I had more time. But that day, I decided to spend just 5 minutes on it. I set a timer, picked up the first envelope, and kept going. By the time the timer rang, the counter was clear, my energy was high, and, ironically, I wanted to keep going. That tiny start flipped a switch in my brain. It proved that action, no matter how small, is the antidote to overwhelm. The beauty of starting small is that it removes the pressure of perfection. You're not committing to cleaning the whole garage. You're just picking up one box. You're not reorganizing the entire wardrobe. You're just clearing the top shelf. And the moment you start, momentum takes over. Think about it. How many times have you dreaded a task only to find it wasn't as bad once you began? So how do you put this into practice? First, set a micro goal. Instead of, declutter my office, make it, sort through the top drawer of my desk. It's specific, manageable, and instantly double. Second, use the 5-minute rule. If a task will take less than 5 minutes, do it now. That small win will push you forward. Third, remove decision fatigue. Before you start, decide exactly what you'll tackle so your brain can't talk you out of it. Ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now that would make my space feel better? Not tomorrow, not this weekend. Now, because the truth is, action creates clarity. The longer we wait, the heavier the task feels. But the moment we begin, we take back control. Not just of the mess in front of us, but of the story we're telling ourselves about what's possible. So don't wait for motivation to magically appear for life to slow down. Pick one tiny, doable step and take it. You'll be amazed at how quickly small beginnings turn into big transformations. And one day, this stage brings, you'll look back and realize that the moment everything started to change was the moment you simply began. Habit number 2, I keep only what earns its place. One day, I opened my closet and realized something strange. I owned plenty of clothes, yet I was wearing the same 5 outfits on repeat. Everything else was just taking up space. And that's when it hit Meg, not everything I own deserves to be here. If it doesn't earn its place, it's just clutter in disguise. For years, I kept things simply because I liked them, or because they were still good, or because they had been with me for a long time. But here's the truth, liking something isn't enough. The real question is, does this item truly serve me right now? If the answer is no, then it's costing me space, attention, and even energy. It's not just about physical clutter. Our possessions carry mental weight, too. Every unnecessary thing you own is one more decision, one more bit of visual noise, one more distraction. I remember helping a friend declutter her kitchen. She had 3 blenders. When I asked why, she said, well, one was a gift, one's a backup, and one's my favorite. But the backup had been untouched for years, and the gift one was still in its box. Once she let go of the extras, her countertops looked cleaner, and she had more space to cook, and she admitted she felt lighter, even though it was just 2 blenders. If you want to live by the keep only what earns its place rule, start with this first. Set a higher standard. Don't just ask if you like it. Ask if you use it, love it, and if it adds real value to your daily life. Second, be ruthless with duplicates. Unless it's something you truly need, multiples of one is enough. Third, reassess regularly. What earned its place a year ago might not deserve it today. Life changes, and so should our spaces. Think about it, if your home was prime real estate, and it is, would you waste valuable square footage on things you barely notice? Or would you reserve it for what actually supports your life and happiness? Every drawer, every shelf, every corner is an opportunity to either store things that weigh you down or things that lift you up. When I shifted to this mindset, my space became calmer, my mornings got easier, and even cleaning felt less like a chore. And here's the beautiful part: when you surround yourself only with what truly earns its place, you start appreciating those items more. They stop blending into the background, and they start adding joy to your everyday life. So the next time you pick up something in your home, don't just ask, "Do I like this?" Ask, "Has this earned the right to be here?" Because when you raise the standard for what you allow into your space, you raise the standard for your whole life. Habit number 3, I give my things a home. You know that mini heart attack you get when you can't find your keys, your phone charger, or that one important document you swear you just saw yesterday. I used to live in that state, constantly searching, running late, and feeling frustrated. And then I realized the real problem wasn't that I was messy. It was that my things didn't have a home. When every item in your life has a designated spot, clutter doesn't stand a chance. It's like having a GPS for your belongings. You always know where to put them back, and more importantly, where to find them. Without a home, things wander. They end up on counters, in random drawers, or buried under piles. And when that happens, your space feels chaotic, and so does your mind. I remember visiting a friend who seemed to have it all together. Her home was welcoming, organized, and somehow peaceful. At one point, I asked where she kept her scissors. She smiled, walked to a drawer, and handed them to me in 3 seconds flat. "They always live here," she said casually. It sounded so simple, but it was a light bulb moment for me. The scissors weren't just somewhere. They had a home. And because of that, she never wasted time searching for them. If you want to give your things a home, start small. First, choose a logical spot for each item based on where you use it most. Keep cooking utensils near the stove, your go-to shoes by the door, your favorite by the coffee machine. Second, label spaces if needed. A label on a drawer or a shelf might feel over the top, but it trains both you and others in your household to return things to the right place. Third, practice the reset habit. At the end of the day, take 5 minutes to return everything to its home. Just like tucking your belongings into bed for the night. Ask yourself, how much time, energy, and patience could I save if I never had to search for things again? The truth is, organization isn't about perfection. It's about making life easier. And when your home works with you instead of against you, everyday tasks become smoother, faster, and far less stressful. Once I started giving my things a home, mornings became calmer, cleaning became faster, and I felt a new sense of control over my space. There's a quiet confidence in knowing exactly where everything belongs. It's like your home is saying, "Don't worry, I've got you." So take the time to give every item a place. Because when your things have a home, your home starts to feel like it truly belongs to you. Habit number 4. I embrace the one in, one out rule. Have you ever brought something new into your home? A pair of shoes, a kitchen gadget, a cute decorative piece, and felt that little rush of excitement only to realize a few weeks later, it's just one more thing taking up space. I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. For years, I kept adding and adding without removing anything. My home slowly became more crowded, and the sense of calm I craved was replaced by a low-grade feeling of too much. That's when I discovered the one in, one out rule. And it changed everything. The idea is simple: every time something new comes in, something old goes out. Buy a new sweater. Donate or toss one you no longer wear. Bring home a new coffee mug. Let go of one that's been collecting dust in the back of the cabinet. This tiny habit keeps clutter from building up in the first place, and it forces you to be more intentional about what you bring into your life. I remember when I started applying this rule to my books. I love reading, but my shelves were overflowing, so much so that I'd started stacking books on the floor. One day, I made myself a promise: for every new book I bought, I'd donate one I no longer needed. At first, it was hard. Books feel personal, almost like friends. But over time, it became easier. My collection became more curated. My shelves more breathable. and I actually started appreciating the books I kept instead of letting them fade into background clutter. If you want to embrace this habit, start with 3 simple steps. First, make it non-negotiable. No exceptions. If you bring something in, decide right then what's going out. Second, keep a donation box handy. When you know where things will go, it's easier to follow through. Third, be honest with yourself about what you actually use or love. That's the filter that makes the one in, one out rule work. Here's the question to ask yourself. If I'm not willing to part with something old to make space for this new item, do I really need the new item at all? This one question alone can save you money, time, and stress. Over time, the one in, one out rule becomes less about discipline and more about freedom. You stop fearing the clutter creep. You start living in a home where every item feels chosen, not accidental. And you develop a mindset that values quality over quantity. Not just in your belongings, but in every part of your life. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to own nothing. It's to own only what truly matters. And this simple rule is one of the easiest ways to get there. Habit number 5. I let go without guilt. I used to hold on to things for all the wrong reasons. A sweater I never wore because it was a gift. A stack of books I didn't enjoy because I had paid for them. A vase from a relative that wasn't my style but felt too sentimental to let go. Every time I thought about getting rid of them, I felt this heavy wave of guilt. Like I was being wasteful or ungrateful. Sound familiar? Here's that I've learned: keeping something you don't use, love, or need doesn't make you more appreciative. It just clutters your space and your mind. Letting go without guilt isn't about throwing away memories or disrespecting the person who gave you something. It's about honoring the fact that your life, your space, and your energy are valuable. If something no longer serves you, holding on to it isn't an act of kindness. It's an act of self-sabotage. I'll never forget the day I finally donated a dress I had never worn but kept for years because it was expensive. It hung in my closet like a reminder of a bad purchase. But then I thought, why should I punish myself every time I see it? I donated it to a charity shop, and later found out it was bought by a young woman for her first job interview. She wore it with pride, and it gave her confidence. That dress was doing more good out there than it ever did hanging in my closet. If you want to let go without guilt, here are a few steps that help me. First, reframe your thinking. Focus on the good your item do for someone else rather than the loss to you. Second, separate the memory from the object. Just because you part with the thing doesn't mean you lose the experience or the connection. Third, remind yourself that your home is not a storage facility for unused items. It's a living space for you and the life you want to create. Ask yourself, is this item adding to my life right now, or is it holding me back? If it's holding you back, imagine the relief you'll feel when it's gone. That's not guilt, that's freedom. Over time, I found that letting go without guilt wasn't just about objects. It was a mindset shift. I started letting go of habits, commitments, even old versions of myself that no longer fit the life I wanted. And the more I released, the lighter I felt. Because the truth is, you can't create the life you want if your space is filled with the weight of what you no longer need. And when you let go with a clear heart, you're not losing. You're making space for something better to arrive. Habit number 6, declutter regularly, not just once. You know that satisfying feeling when you finally clean out a closet or tidy up a room. And it looks so perfect you swear it'll stay that way forever. I used to believe that too. But here's the truth I had to face: clutter is sneaky. It creeps back in, little by little, when we're not paying attention. That's why decluttering isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing habit. I learned this the hard way. A few years ago, I did a massive, everything must go, weekend. I filled bags for donation, organized every drawer, and felt like I had conquered chaos for good. But 6 months later, I opened that same closet and found it stuffed again. How? Because I treated decluttering like a project instead of a lifestyle. I had cleared the space, but I hadn't changed the habits that caused the mess in the first place. Now, I approach it differently. I declutter regularly, not because I enjoy tossing things out, but because I enjoy living in a space that feels light, open, and easy to manage. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't do it once and expect your teeth to stay clean forever. You do it daily to prevent problems from building up. If you want to make regular decluttering part of your life, start small and consistent. First, set a recurring clutter check on your calendar. Maybe it's 10 minutes Sunday to walk through your home and spot anything that doesn't belong. Second, create a donation zone, a box or basket where you can drop things as soon as you realize you no longer need them. When it's full, you donate it. Third, use natural pauses in your day, like waiting for the kettle to boil or the laundry to finish, as quick decluttering opportunities. Ask yourself, how much easier would life feel if you never had to face another overwhelming, all-day clean out again? That's what regular decluttering gives you. Freedom from the cycle of mess and burnout. Instead of dreading the next big purge, you keep things under control effortlessly. One of my favorite parts about this habit is how it changes your relationship with stuff. You become more aware of what you actually use, more protective of your space, and far less likely to let unnecessary things pile up. It stops being about getting rid of things and starts being about protecting the life you've created. When you treat decluttering as a lifestyle, your home stays ready for guests, your mornings run smoother, and you spend less time managing your stuff and more time living your life. Because in the end, it's not about cleaning your home once. It's about keeping it the kind of place you love to come home to every single day. Habit number 7. I celebrate the space I've created. There's a special kind of joy in walking into a room you've just decluttered. The way the air feels lighter. The way your eyes rest instead of darting around at piles and mess. I used to rush past that feeling, already thinking about the next space to organize, the next list to tackle. But over time, I realized I was missing something important: the celebration. Decluttering isn't just about removing what you don't need. It's about creating something better. It's about crafting an environment where you can breathe, think, and live with more ease. And if we don't pause to appreciate the space we've made, it's too easy to slip back into old habits and let clutter creep in again. Celebrating isn't just self-congratulation, it's reinforcement. It reminds your brain, this is worth keeping. I remember clearing my home office one weekend. It had been a dumping ground for months. Random papers, unopened mail, things I didn't know where to put. After hours of sorting, donating, and organizing, I sat down at my desk. For the first time in ages, I had an open surface, a clear floor, and sunlight streaming in without obstruction. I didn't open my laptop right away. I just sat there, coffee in hand, and soaked it in. That moment made me fall in love with the space again. And because I valued it so much, I kept it that way. If you want to make this habit stick, try 3 simple steps. First, when you finish decluttering, take a few minutes to truly be in the space. Sit down, breathe, and notice the difference. Second, take a photo before and after. Seeing the transformation in a single snapshot can be surprisingly motivating. Third, give the space a small treat, like fresh flowers, a scented candle, or a piece of art you love. It signals that this is not just an empty space. It's an intentional one. Ask yourself, how much more would you value your space if you took the time to appreciate it? How much harder would it be to let clutter take over again if you felt proud of the way your home looked and felt? Celebration turns a chore into an accomplishment. It shifts the focus from what you've given up to what you've gained. Peace, clarity, and room to live the life you want. When you connect positive emotions to the act of decluttering, you make it a habit you'll actually look forward to, not just tolerate. So the next time you create space, whether it's a single drawer or an entire room, pause, admire it, enjoy it. Let that feeling sink in. Because when you celebrate the space created, you're not just protecting your home from clutter. You're protecting your joy. When I began, I thought I was just clearing out my home. But really, I was clearing out my life, making room for new opportunities, deeper relationships, and more joy. Decluttering taught me that when you let go of no longer serves you, you make space for what truly matters. So start today. Start small, stage brings, and watch how a few simple habits can change not just your space but your whole life.